Good morning. I had shared a message from the first chapter of John a couple of weeks ago, and I had conversation with someone after that, and we were talking about the Gospel of John, and they made mention that they had heard the Gospel of John, the writer of John, described as the disciple of love. And where would that have come from? And that's a great question, actually. And it's an interesting story because John and his brother James were disciples. And before Jesus called them, they were brothers who were fishing with their father Zebedee in the family business. And one day Jesus walks by and he invites James and John to follow him and to become fishers of men, to become a disciple. And so it wasn't long after James and John were with Jesus that they earned nicknames. And those nicknames were that they were sons of thunder. Now, you can imagine what that might mean. James and John had anger issues. They had short fuses. And there is even a story where Jesus and his disciples go through this small town preaching and teaching, and the people in this town were very critical of Jesus and the disciples. And as they walked out of town, John basically looks at Jesus and says, you know, if it's not a big deal to you, I'd like to call down lightning from the skies and destroy this town. Let's nuke them. Let's destroy them because they didn't like what we had to say. And Jesus looks at John and basically says, what kind of a spirit is in you? That is not who I am. I am not going to critique people simply because they don't believe me. This is a message about love and grace and forgiveness. And so in time, right, these disciples followed Jesus for about 3 years before he was crucified. In time, John's heart began to mellow. His spirit became much more loving rather than angry. And in fact, in John chapter 13, we even read his comments from Jesus. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. And the word love shows up in the Gospel of John somewhere around 80 times. So John had a real transformation from having spent this time around Jesus. And it says a lot about what spending time with Jesus can do for anyone. How have we been transformed by spending time with Jesus? By reading the scriptures and getting to know more about who Jesus is, to pray and to discern that we would be able to hear and to see Jesus in those around us, and that in our activities, as we reach out to help other people, to share compassion and love with other people, where do we see Jesus in those moments? So it was a great question. Why do they call Jesus the disciple of love? He was transformed from an angry individual with a short fuse to someone who had compassion among people who even disagreed with him. If you have any questions or any theological types of confusions and you'd like to share them in the comments below, or you'd have something that you would like me to address, please feel free to share, and I will be back on Wednesday. Have a great start to your week. God bless you. Goodbye.